the cheek of it for the artistic director to say, oh, this is a pagan, celebration. That we weren't trying to make a correlation between Jesus Christ and our interpretation of the Last Supper. Like, that's not what we were going for. We were going for the Greek god. What's the Greek god's name? Dionysus is the god of wine making, orchids and fruit, vegetation, fertility, festivity, insanity, ritual madness, religious ecstasy, and theatre.
You are now listening to Pree Da Production with your host, Majaro.
What is up, my tribal people? Welcome back to another video on the Pree Da Production YouTube channel. I'm your host, Majaro, aka Midge, and you already know what I'm going to say. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe because we're trying to grow the community, and by sharing this with your friends and family, that goes a long way in helping us do that, and leaving a super thanks is very much appreciated. Now, let's get into it. So, it's officially Olympic season, and the Paris Games have kicked off over the past couple of days, and let me tell you, there ain't nothing like an Olympic Games without some sort of controversy, some sort of scandal. And today we are going to be looking at the Olympic opening ceremonies. Boy, it was a doozy. We start off by train delays and traffic in inner city France with loads of railroad problems.
Just hours before the opening ceremony, there was chaos on the rail network in and around Paris after a series of acts of deliberate sabotage. Signal boxes and fibre optic cables on the high-speed rail system were vandalised, causing fires and affecting around 800,000 people, including on Eurostar, where 1 in 4 services between London and Paris were cancelled until Monday. 4 attacks in what the French government called coordinated malicious acts targeted links to the east, north and west of Paris.
Apparently a lot of people have been vandalizing and, disrupting railway signals, and has caused a massive delay over the first couple of days, meaning a lot of people were stranded, a lot of people were late to a lot of things. I'm pretty sure a lot of the contestants probably weren't able to fully get there on time, so it's a bit of a sticky one still. I think it's in protest to even having the Olympic Games in France in the first place with everything that's going on in that country at the moment. Not only did the railway stop working, also telecommunications just stopped working as well. Apparently, same thing, a lot of people vandalizing and targeting telecommunications, satellites and aerials in France, and a lot of services weren't operational, so even communicating to the organisers was a bit of a sticky one still. What a way to start. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a worse way to kick it off. People being late, people being frustrated, and it's all a sad day for them, man, there. Let's get into the main topic. The opening ceremony. I mean, not gonna lie, it started off okay. It wasn't raining too much, and I like the idea of everyone, coming out on a boat of their own, but at the same time, it was kind of a bit iffy when you come across the smaller countries that have to share one boat, or, you have big USA in a big boat, and you have France, obviously the host in their biggest boat ever, and then you have the smaller countries, obviously, got 5, 2, 3 contestants, then a little dinghy, basically. But it was nice until it started to pour. So in theory, a change of scenery with, instead of people coming in and walking down the aisle and hosting up the flag with the rest of the man them in the back, have them come on boats. But it was a great idea until it started to pour it down, chucking it down in rain. It must have been miserable if you're the people down there. It must have been absolutely miserable. I guess the euphoria of being in the Olympic Games itself will get you through that, but if I was them, I'd be like, God damn, how long is this boat ride? Oh, another hour? Then the next big opera was having the former Queen Lady, what's her name? Marie Antoinette. Yeah, that's it. Marie Antoinette, who was, one of the most infamous rulers. Yeah. One of the most infamous royal rulers of her time, and she was famous for basically treating the people like peasants, not giving them the right sanitary equipment, taxes, spending up the country's budget on frivolous things, and because of that, she got in the gallows. And to celebrate that momentous occasion for them, they decided to portray her singing from her castle top with her head in her hand to some heavy metal music. Interesting. Not gonna lie, the drip she was wearing was nice. I like the colour scheme that she was doing, but at the same time, for a potentially younger audience, I could see how that could be problematic. You tuning into Olympic Games opening ceremony, having laughs and seeing everyone smiling, and then you see some woman's head in her hands, and you're like, "What the hell is going on?" Let's turn this off, Jason. You didn't see that. But moving on, we get to the main topic that we're gonna cover, and that is, of course, the Last Supper mock-up that they did. And I tell you, I did not know what was going on. I just saw people walking across the stage. I thought it was a fashion show. I was like, "Oh, cool, this is quirky." The French, they've got a certain je ne sais quoi about themselves when it comes to fashion. So I thought, okay, this is interesting. Let's see the fits. I saw a couple of drag performers. I was like, okay, cool. Representing the LGBT community, cool. And then when I saw them gather around the stage or the table, and then I saw the main person at the DJ booth with the halo over her heads, and then I saw people to the left and right of her. I was like, "Hey, ain't this the Last Supper? What's going on here? Why have they done this?" At the time, I was just confused, but thinking back now, I was thinking, yeah, there's going to be some people upset about this. There's definitely going to be some people upset about this. And ain't that a kid next to some guy with his testicles out? Ah, nah, this whole montage is cooked. This whole set piece wasn't set piecing. It did not lead to a goal. It led to an own goal. And a lot of people, rightfully, were outraged, because to a lot of people, especially religious people, you wouldn't see them do this to any other religion. How come it's always Christians always getting the wrong end of the stick? Haven't Christians been through enough? We've already been mocked out of our heads for, Santa Claus. St. Nicholas has been downgraded to some fatso in the North Pole with 12 reindeers, and one of them's got a red nose. That's literally what St. Nicholas has been boiled down to. They're like, "Oh, you bastardized St. Nick. Now we can't even have the Last Supper. Now it's got to be, repurposed to fit some sort of agenda." That's how a lot of people online were taking it. And, at first, the Olympics didn't really come and try and connect the two lines. They were like, "Oh no, this isn't, that was not my inspiration." In fact, let me get the quotes. So this is from the ceremony's artistic director, Thomas Jolly. He said, "There was no intention to mock or denigrate anyone," and explained the scene in question was designed to reference pagan gods. Right? He's saying this whole thing was to represent pagan gods, right? Clearly, there was never an intention to show disrespect to any religious group, a spokesperson from the Paris Olympic Committee said. On the contrary, I think Thomas Jolly did try to intend to celebrate community tolerance. We believe this ambition was achieved. If people have taken any offense, we of course are really sorry. That's basically political jargon for, hey, we did what we did. We believe in what we achieved. We believe that it achieved what we wanted it to achieve. And if you got offended, suck your mother. That's literally what they said. That's literally what they said. And a lot of people were not having it. The person who was basically Centerpiece cosplaying as some LGBTQ Jesus, right? She even came out and confirmed what they were going for. So for the Olympic director to say, "Oh, we weren't trying to make any comparisons. This isn't our interpretation. It's actually something else." The Centerpiece goes on her Instagram or their Instagram and says, oh yes, the New Gay Testament, and tags the people that were involved. fist emoji, rainbow flag. Come on, you knew what you were doing. Let's not play dumb. Let's not play dumb. Priests, pastors coming out, and giving a piece and saying, yo, if this was to happen to any other religion other than Christianity, this would not be tolerated. In fact, they probably wouldn't even think of doing this to Islam. They wouldn't even think of doing this to Islam because, they might know about Charlie Hebdo and that. Like, you know what happened the last time when the French tried messing with the Muslim community? Yo, it was not a good month or year. Let's just say that.
France, which used to be called the eldest daughter of the church, Paris, that gave us Thomas Aquinas taught there, and Vincent de Paul was there, King Louis IX, St. Louis. France that sent Catholic missionaries all over the world. France, whose culture, and I mean the honoring of the individual and of human rights and of freedom, is grounded very much in Christianity, felt the right thing to do was to mock the Christian faith. A question I would pose, we all know the answer to it. Would they ever have dared mock Islam in a similar way? Would they ever have dreamed of mocking in this gross, public way, a scene from the Quran? As I say, we all know the answer to that.
You have multiple governments issuing statements. For example, Iran condemns 2024 Olympics for mocking Last Supper. The insulting representation of Jesus Christ in Paris yesterday was completely offensive and crossed all red lines. France, a country with a major history of Christianity, must be ashamed of itself, and I implore our Christian people all over the world to speak out against this act. We resiliently condemn this. I mean, that's as forceful as you can get at this point. Because for some reason, it feels like countries who have historically been Christian are the chief proponents of disrespecting Christianity. Like, if you look at all the Western countries, so, you go to Spain, England, Spain, England, the UK, Canada, America, like, the ones in the Western world, the superpowers, right? They are the ones who allow people to do stupid stuff like this, knowing that it's going to offend, knowing that it's going to cause an uproar, knowing that there's going to be a lot of people who are not going to like it, and there are going to be consequences. And it's so crazy that France are doing this. France have allowed artists to have this creative freedom to disrespect a religion like this, but won't allow athletes to dress appropriately in accordance to their own religion. So you're going to allow people to disrespect religious symbols, religious iconic photos, but you're not going to allow those same people to practice and, represent their own religion in the way they see fit. That's not going to affect anywhere else. For example, they're banning hijabs, right? And specifically, the religious wearing of a hijab. They're basically saying, you can be a Muslim and you can, wear a hijab in your own private life, but when you come out into, the public workforce, when you go out to compete as an athlete, you can wear something else, just not a hijab. You can wear a bandana, you can wear a scarf around your head to cover up your hair that you don't want other people to see. That's not affecting anyone else. But you can't wear specifically a headscarf hijab, let alone a burqa, because that's a whole different story. They're like, nah, burqas are fully banned. Hijabs in public are prohibited, which is wild. After all the stuff they've gone through with the Muslim community, they're going to deprive something as inoffensive, something as conservative as covering up your hair, because it, for some reason, infringes on someone else. Like, when you try and deepen the reason why this is a ban, it's very arbitrary. It's very, safety, we aren't sure, this could be offensive to other people, can incite tensions. There's already high tension, so no, bro, you doing this is heightened the tension. A key example of one of the athletes that have been affected from this ban is French Olympic sprinter Sarkoumba Sela. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. Apologies. She took to social media days before the 2024 Olympic Games saying she would not be allowed to participate in the opening ceremony because of her hijab. She goes on to state, you are selected from the Olympics, organized in your country, but you can't participate in the opening ceremony because you want to wear a headscarf? She wrote on her private Instagram, according to the Associated Press. The criticism was the latest in an ongoing controversy over France's rule prohibiting female Muslim athletes from wearing the hijab or headscarves during the Olympics. The athletes, while competing for France, are considered civil servants. So you're allowing people to disrespect religions, but you're not allowing religious people to practice their faith when it comes to the outward appearance. Make it make sense, broski. Make it make sense, because it doesn't to me. Another example of restricting religious expression that the Olympics love to do these days, right? They've stopped a Olympic surfboarder from displaying Christ the Redeemer statue on his surfboard because it goes against their code of conduct when it comes to religious expression. Bro, make it make sense. Make it make sense. I even looked up the codes, right? Let's look at their rule books. It says athletes can express themselves on the field of play before competition if it's in line with Olympic rules and principles, doesn't target people or nations, and isn't disruptive. That's when it comes to expression, right? It says the IOC Athletes Commission also recommends that athletes be given a platform to discuss important topics as long as their views are respectful and in line with Olympic values. So, having the Christ Redeemer statue on your surfboard or wearing a hijab to cover up your hair because it's what you would want if you're a religious person or a Muslim, right? It doesn't go against any of the Olympics rules. But since it's in France, I guess they have their way. It's crazy. And the cheek of it, the cheek of it for the artistic director to say, oh, this is a pagan, celebration. That we weren't trying to make a correlation between Jesus Christ and, our interpretation of the Last Supper. Like, that's not what we were going for. We were going for, the Greek god. What's the Greek god's name? Dionysus is the god of wine making, orchids and fruit, vegetation, fertility, festivity, insanity, ritual madness, religious ecstasy, and theater. So I guess this is the inspiration they're going for. They're going for religious outrage, religious, theater. That's what they're going for. This literally, the definition or the description of this god is literally allowed them to get away with outraging a whole community. Because if they're trying to say they're trying to bring people together, this has never driven more wedge between religious groups and other communities that are taking the piss at this point. Because of all this ongoing controversy, one of their key sponsors dropped them. They said, the ceremony isn't in line with our values, and as a result, we won't be advertising on the Olympics anymore. They released an apology. They took down the video off their YouTube channel, but the damage is done, bruv. The cat's out the bag. We know how you really feel about religion. And it's turned off a lot of people. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you feel like this outrage is hysteria, or this is, theater for a lot of people? Or do you think, nah, it's calm? it's theatre, you know, artistic expression. Everyone should have their own way of interpreting things. If you interpret it as the Last Supper, that's on you. If you interpret it as something else, that's on them. Either way, let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Leaving a super thanks is very much appreciated. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
I be kidding on my foes, even though I got it all on my own. Success sweet, yeah, it tastes like honeycomb. Dropping blood, tears, and even breaking bones. I'm sipping on Patron while aiming for the throne. I've been to hell and back.